Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorp International. A bit on the mountain. It's had 3 coats of plaster Paris. I'm going to put another coat on, but probably not this week. The very top has had 4, and then I may put some colour on it, and then get some undergrowth on at the very top, put some trees on. So I can bring this out at the front there and do that bit. I need to get some tunnel potholes still, but for now, that's where I'm up to with that. It's looking quite good. I'm happy with that. But this is all about the Sprog 2, and in my case, version 4. And the Sprog 2 is that. It's a very little unit. It's very clever. You can even, if you use the JMRI program software, you can drive a few trains on a small layout. You can't do a big layout. I couldn't run it on mine. It can't handle the amount of power, and the engines, you can get boosters and stuff, but it doesn't have a handset, and I do like a handset. You would have to run everything on the computer. The other thing is, I'm happy with low D. You know, it's very versatile for me. It works. But what I wanted the Sprog for, iTrain is very clever that it can read and write decoders what belong to Railcom. But what it can't do is, I would say, possibly 94.5% of my engines, because we've only started on iTrain, and I did have a few Railcom decoders just because it came with it in. And most of my British stuff, because it's 6-pin or 18-pin, some have Railcom in, but only some. So I am going to have to change all my decoders over to Railcom, only because it does certain things on here. There's other things it does do with Lodi as well. It tells you when you look at Lodi interface on the the software, which direction the train is facing. It also helps for on here, which way it's facing, and so on. But at the moment, I've maybe only gone up to about 24, maybe 3 dozen with Railcom in. But because all of America, they've not got into it yet, and they may never get into Railcom. And this, I don't need it. I don't need this Sprog to read decoders and change the CVs, even though iTrain doesn't do it, because I can use my old controller that with the handset, which I have been doing, separate piece of track, lift the train off, put it on, find the CV, change it, put it back on here to speed measure it. But I didn't want to do that. It's not fiddly with diesels, but it's more fiddly with steam engines because of the bogies, at the front and under the cab. It's still a bit of a process. Now at the moment, this is still in, but I don't need it now because of that little Sprog machine. And I saw this. I needed a switch. I could have got a really small switch just to turn the power from coming from Lodi through iTrain to the Sprog on the other way, because the Sprog only works from there to that end to see the decoders. But if I put it back to that, I can then speed check it without lifting the engine off. And what you try and do with the speed checking, that whatever the top speed is of the loco, in what I do is I look it up on the real world, and it looks like, because that's set at 70 there, it's a 70 mile an hour maximum speed. It might be able to do more, but that's the restriction what's on the railway. And if you get a decoder and it's maybe set at 255 or 0, when it runs, full speed on your handset might be only halfway round. And from there round to here is a total waste. And what you try and do is you get the, in this case, 70 mile an hour with CV5. So when it's doing 70, it's at the top end. And then iTrain knows what speed step it's on, what speed it should be doing. So when it goes into a block, it measures and counts to stop in certain places, or does actions or anything. So this train, this Class 70, has been speed checked, or speed measured, and it has had the CVs done. So if I just open the loco, just one thing, sorry. If you have the actual train you're going to do any speed measuring in this particular throttle, not these extra throttles, but this throttle, single one here, because I can have more on this. When you open anything to do with the train itself, speed measuring, decoder, looking at the loco information, it will always bring it up. You don't have to go through the list to find it. Now you can change and look at a different one with no problem and look at the different things. But that, I have read the CVs on this using the Sprog. Now, all I have to do to read them, because if I go to the decoder here, decoder programmer, loco, and just press clear, they've all gone now. Now, if I apply it, it will have gone off that loco information, but I haven't deleted it, but I'm going to show you reading. Now, it's on Lodi going through iTrain at the moment, because the lever is pointing that way. And that way, when it's on those red ones connected to there, it means it's the full length of the track, and it can speed measure, or I could change the address with the handset anywhere on that piece of track. If it was pointing this way, it would be on the Sprog only up to that break, what I showed you in the track. So if I try and read it through iTrain, the interface is Rector. I don't know if it'll actually bring, I can see what it's going to do. It's probably going to remember what it is because it's in the database. But let me find my mouse. Where are you? There you are. Click on that. Read. No, it hasn't. That's what it does when you try and read it through iTrain, when it's not a Railcom. And it just gives you that no entry. It ain't got a clue. Click on that, read, nah. You can't change it on to the service track. It does it because it thinks it's reading a Railcom, so it's just on main automatically. But when I have it on the Sprog, I can click on that. So I can't read it at all. So if I press clear, it's gone. I'm going to turn that over to the Sprog, and what I do now is change that to Sprog. It can be on the service track now, and if I highlight all of them and press read, it now reads all the CVs. You can see it flashing away, and it tells me what they're set at. And that's the most important ones for speed measuring. If I want to do remapping, I would have to have more CVs on. But for now, I could have pressed apply. It's not got it highlighted because it knows all those figures are in the database. But that's how easy now it is for me to do it. So all I would do now is come out of that. Thank you. I know what that CV is. Put it back pointing to the right. Go into the speed thing to measure it, and I would press start. And if I'd set up the top and bottom CV correctly already, it would then just measure it. And that's so much easier for me to do. Now, just to show you a Railcom, I haven't read the CVs of that train, but I know it's got a Railcom decoder in. So if I just find it down here, there it is there. Now it's in that bit. I go to View, Decoder, and it's got that logo on there. Now it's on the main. If I highlight them and click read, it brings them all up instantly. It doesn't need to shake it about like it does on the track when it normally reads a CV. It instantly brings them up for me to see what it is. And it's a Zimo. And it just tells you the information you need. So that's why I've got the Sprog to read non-chips or decoders, should I say, and Railcom will just read it anywhere on the main line. As long as the train is highlighted, and it would write to it as well if I wanted to change the CV. So that's what that is about. It's to make my life a little bit easier and convenient just to swap stuff about. I'm really happy with that. It's just made it so much easier. So, looking at the screen, I will say thank you very much for watching. I don't need to, oh yeah, I will save them into the data because I haven't put them in yet, that one. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you understand. It's a very clever little box, is that? A very clever little box. Like I say, you can do remapping on that on a computer, so you can change the you can change CVs when you do mapping to put them in a certain order. So I know lights are always on 0, but if you wanted it on number 10, you can alter it all about. As I understand, I haven't had a go at doing that. That is going to be next, that I can make any decoder in any order if it's got sound on all the same, which will be quite handy. Then I don't have to remember what number it's on, even though on here it gives you the symbols down the side, or on the bottom here to do with that loco, the symbols will be here. But it's just handy if everything is the same. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.